We kind of went over it last night on Remo's patch notes during the State of the Nation for NA for Call to Arms. And then, we got impromptu Sunshine coming and AKM and Doom Train was with me. And we were going over like the crazy stuff. But then the PTR, after that, the PTR showed up today, which was really fucking weird. And it seems to be super random. A lot of, I think, night elves are disgruntled, which is nothing new. I joke. But anyways, we'll go through everything. I mean, why not, right? So let me switch to the bracket view. And so the PTR's up now. They fixed an issue with this, no problem. Campaign stuff, lighting. I know there's environmental stuff problems and things they're having issues with. They've updated the map pool, which I saw really quickly, but we can take a look after. So balance on the PTR. Remember, this is PTR and it's not finalized. Some things will make it, some things will not make it. Maybe they don't. None of them make it, which I don't think is the case. But Sentry Ward Vision reduced from 1,600 to 1,000. So this is the drop item of the Sentry Ward that everybody gets. And to be honest, I think changing this there's no point to changing it. Does it give you that big of an advantage to have 16 or 1,000? I think the vision you get from it because of the timing is fine. Like there's no real big issue here. There's nobody complaining about this, from what I understand. So I wouldn't change this. Healing word charges reduced from 3 to 2. I think there was a general idea behind charges on a lot of items over the last couple of patches, and some items were reduced to 2, right? I'm okay with this. I think as long as the monetary value of it is reflected in that. So is this game breaking or anything? No, because it's something that affects everybody and they can all get the same item. So fine, let's change healing word charges reduced from 3 to 2. Maybe you use the charges faster. I potentially see the vampiric potion being added as an issue because it's a level 2 drop. So you're gonna get this at a green camp, and depending on what it's gonna be, from what I was reading, some people were saying it was almost like a 25 or 20% like vampiric potion. So if you get that, let's say a blade master gets that, or a demon hunter, especially a blade, they're gonna go a little crazy with it. And how long does it last? And is it going to help creep other camps? So I don't know about this as being a drop. Maybe as something that you can buy. It's nice to have new items, new content. As we were saying yesterday, it's nice to have new changes for new players coming in and try to like spice it up a little bit. But it seems to be there's a lot of there's one person coming up with ideas and then borrowing ideas from said people in the community, which is probably not the best way to go about stuff because it seems all really random. But we'll continue. Added Ruin of Lesser Healing as level 2 drop. It's a lesser healing. It's a level 2 drop. It depends how much it's healing. I think it's slightly less than a heal scroll. It's okay because it can't be something you can pick up and carry. So that's fine. It's not like you're picking up a small heal scroll and running around with it. So you kind of have to use it right away. Or if you're smart enough, you can leave it and maybe go back to it unless the enemy picks it up. And let's see how that is. I mean, vampiric potion, lesser healing, more items in the game. Ring of Protection +4. I'm down with the rings being reduced. +4 to +3. I mean, previously, right? How many patches ago they were already +3, and then they buffed the rings. But this is saying only Ring of Protection +4 at the moment. And I went through this already, so there's still the ring +5. I think depending on where it drops and whatnot, that's fine. right? It's like a TC or Demon Hunter walking out of the gate and getting a +4 ring right off the bat. They're already tanky as it is. TC, they need the armor, but yeah, it's a vampiric potion. But that's the thing. It's like it can help you creep some camps, or it can be a little bit OP at the beginning. I think. I don't think this would be a very valuable late game, but it could be game breaking in some instances wherever it drops. But depends on how much vampiric potion, how long it lasts, I suppose. Backpack shop requirement removed. This is a pretty decent change. I think this is fine because we don't see backpack being used that much at all, and then you need the shop for to actually research it. This is a good change. Okay, of all the things here, what I'm saying, yeah, this is cool. This the backpack shop requirement removed is good change. Orb of Darkness will now spawn level 2 skeletons rather than the level 1 skeletons. I'm okay with this. Level 1 skeletons are really pointless at that point, so level 2 could be a little bit more useful. Maybe for undead, if you happen to pick up the orb and you want to consume the skeletons, they're level 2. It's a little bit more worthwhile. It's not one of those things that's going to be game changing, but it'll be at least make the Orb of Darkness a little bit better, and I think that's fine. Ancient Django of Endurance movement speed increased from 5 to 7.5 and attack rate from 3 to 3.5%. Legion Doomhorn movement speed increased from 5% to 7.5%, and hit point regeneration per second increased from 0.3 to 3.35. I remember the aura items were like nerfed a long time ago, and they reduced quite a bit. So, well, this is a buff to these items. This is a buff. This is a nerf. These are new. This is a nerf. I don't know. This looks like it increased them, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's no other notes here. Maybe we'll find them at the bottom. Human militia armor reduced from 4 to 3. I know everybody was complaining about. I know people complain about militia that are not human players, but I find militia really die easily. So their armor reduced from 4 to 3. Is this a necessary? Hey, how's it going? Is this a necessary change? Like, I don't think this is a good idea. I really don't think this is a good idea. Defend piercing reduction from. Yeah, it's crazy, the new patch live. Defend piercing reduction reduced from 65 to 50%. And then the first glance are like, okay, is defend a little bit too OP? And then the defend cost reduced from 150, 100 to 125, 75, and research time reduced. I like this for human. I think it's really good that they can get defend earlier and make use of it. It's cheaper, and it's a bit steep at the beginning, right? So this is actually better. I don't think the 15% is going to make a big difference, but we'll see. But the fact that it's reduced in cost and time, it's like a mini buff and a mini nerf at the same time. But I think that's a good change. We'll see what happens. Siphon mana range reduced from 600 to 500. I'm okay with this. I've been talking about siphon mana range. It's been a little bit too much. Siphon manage area of effect. I think they mean siphon mana range of effect area reduced from 800 to 700. Yeah, siphon manage. I don't know. I don't even know what they mean by this. Slow duration reduced from 60 to 45 seconds. I'm thinking about this. Against Orc, it's a big deal. It would force them to use up mana more often, the Sorks. Could be a good change. Heal range increased from 250 to 350. Now, is this heal range on priests or on the paladin? I don't think this is on the paladin. I think this is on this is on the priests. So maybe they can step back and heal a little bit more from a distance instead of being in the fight. That could be a good change. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, it's not clear, but it's clearly not paladin. But at first glance, you're like, whatever. I think this is okay. I think this is a good change for human, and it's not game breaking, right? Arcane Vault requirement removed from Dragonhawks and Cloud upgrade. That's a good change. Remove the requirement. What the hell? People want to play Hawks? You want to play Hawks? Go ahead. And you have to research Cloud anyways. Is it invisibility range increased from 300 to 400? You're reducing the effect of slow, and you're giving them a little a buff in invisibility range. I don't think it's game breaking. It's fine. I think those are okay. I just don't think the militia change is good. The armor reduction, I don't think that's good at all. I think they should just leave it. Orc mirror image cooldown increased from 3 to 5 seconds. Okay, this is a good change. Tauren now have resistant skin by default. If it's resistant skin from mountain giants, I think that's a good, interesting change. From what I understand is that the change didn't go through in the PTR and it's not working right now. So it's regular. So maybe they're going to fix that. Okay, so these are some of the weird changes, right? Lightning orb cost reduced from 375 to 325. Now, I'm of the proponent that if you're going to do this, all the orbs should cost the same, including. Yeah, I think Tauren. I mean, all they have pulverized, but imagine they had some kind of like ability cooldown that you can use. That maybe they charge you a little bit or something. I don't know, something different. But yeah. So lightning orb cost reduced from 375 325. Lightning orb's already good. So reducing the cost means you have to reduce the cost of all the orbs. Lightning orb damage against summons increased from 150 to 300. This is a big deal. This is a really big buff to lightning orb. I don't think anybody was asking for this. And I feel like they'll revert it or not do it. And if they do it, yeah, a lot of these are. So whoever's coming up with the changes is going to certain people and picking stuff and doing like shooting, pissing in the wind, basically, is what they're doing. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm like, because good changes are good changes in terms of like somebody's paying attention and trying to do stuff, but don't change things for the sake of changing things. But again, this is PTR, so you get to test things out. So that's a good thing, right? I think this is bad. Now, if you really wanted to change the damage against summons, you can buff it a little bit, but I don't think Lightning Orb needs to change here. I think leave it, right? Yeah, it's PTR. Envenomed Spear's damage per tick reduced from 4 to 3. Okay, so the only unit that benefits from Envenomed Spears are Wind Riders, right? But always thought that the upgrade for Envenomed Spears should also benefit Berserkers. Okay? I think they should also benefit Berserkers. It would make Berserkers a little bit better in some areas against like Night Elf. Not sorry, Night Elf, against Undead, against Breakers, and I don't think you would break the game. I don't think it would change because you still have to get the upgrade and then you have to get the bestiary. Are you getting it? You're getting a Kodo. That's another upgrade, but you would benefit from it. So, I think that would be an interesting change. Wind Rider level reduced from 4 to 3. So basically they're going to give less experience. They are paper. I'm okay with that. I don't think it really changes too much. Gonna get nuked to hell anyways. Again, nobody was asking for this. And it's a small change to test it. I think it stays, but nobody was asking for it, right? Sentry, Stasis, and Healing Words are now magic immune. So casters can't attack them. And can they be dispelled? Does this mean they cannot be dispelled? That's a question we need to ask. Because that would be weird. Right? If they can't, you can't dispel them or anything. So you would have to physically attack them. Maybe that makes sense. Probably can't be dispelled. Or if they're magic immune, casters can't attack them. It's a bit weird. So maybe you have to physically attack them with Stasis takes like 5 traps. It does. I think Heal Word takes 1. And
I don't take no shit from anyone.
hey, Krata. Again, I don't think anybody was asking for this, but they want more play of Stasis Words and Healing Words. So it's a buff to Stasis traps. I like using Witch Doctors. Again, I don't think anybody was asking for this, but it could be an interesting change. Just to play them more. We'll see how that goes. Healing Words duration from 30 to 25. That's a nerf. That's fine. Great Hall build time from 140 to 125. So when we went over the Remo notes, I didn't think any of this really mattered. But I think for Orc it's a big deal. So this is, for me, it's a good change. But then again, if you're going to do that, you have to give the other races something else, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff here I wouldn't do. And there's a lot of stuff, like, I wouldn't do this. Like, really wouldn't do this. I think all the rest we can live with. They're fine. I wouldn't do the militia change. Whoops. I wouldn't do the militia armor change. I wouldn't do the lightning orb damage like this. We can live with all the rest here. We'll go to Night Elf. Nature's Blessing, lumber cost reduced from 200 to 175. I think this is a good change for Night Elf. They really are lumber starved for the most part, and they need this. And it's not a big change, but early on, 25 lumbers, it makes a big difference for Night Elf. Hunter's Hall cost, lumber cost reduced from 100 to 80. I guess this is targeting the lumber issues for Night Elf. My only qualm with this is that 20 lumber earlier to get a Hunter's Hall means, one, they're getting hunts out faster, possibly, which is good and bad. 2, they're getting APs out faster for pushes. 3, it's slightly faster for lures, but that also depends on your tech, so that doesn't really matter. So I think here you're getting APs and hunters as pushes, which could be very interesting. So is 20 lumber a big deal? No. Again, I think these two for Night Elf are a good change. Where they need it, I think Night Elf were probably asking for lumber help, right? Moonstone duration increased from 30 to 45 seconds. I know a lot of humans dislike the Moonwells and how much they regen, but Moonwells got nerfed a little bit a while ago, and I think this is fine for the Moonstone. I think that's fine. Ultravision research time reduced from 45 to 30 seconds. I don't think this needs to be changed at all. I think Ultravisions are really OP, and just leave the research time. Like, you don't need to do that. Orb of Venom damage per tick reduced from 9 to 8. This is it's a small change. It's a good change. I think the problem here is not necessarily the damage, but the fact that Orbs of Venom, they stack, and then you get tri-orb heroes, and it's annoying. But okay, let's reduce it by 1. Let's check it out. Let's see if it makes a big difference. Mana burn range from 300 to 250. So I was talking with Pain. I didn't come up with these, Pain. I'm just saying this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. I don't think this was necessary. I don't think this was necessary, but okay, fine. I think the mana, we were talking about it earlier, the mana burn range reduced from 320 to 250. I think the mana burn range on the Demon Hunter is needed, but I think this is too much. So what's the range at 280 or 290? Like make small changes. Don't do like stuff that like it's really going to affect the gameplay out of the gate, right? Mountain giant food cost reduced from 7 to 6. So you can fit in a couple more units with your mountain giants. Like if you get 4 mountain giants, you get an extra 4 supply, right? Like 1 per each. Where Night Elf's asking for this, fine, they have to pay for them, whatever. Undead wand of negation charges increased from 2 to 4. Yeah, I don't think Night Elves were asking for this. I don't think this. I think this is like a random shot in the dark. If the elves play standard DH strats, isn't this a nerf? Yeah, it is a nerf to Demon Hunter. It's a big it's a 50. I think that's a big change. I think if you're gonna do it, you do small. You do 290. You don't do a big change, right? Wand of negation charges increase from 2 to 4. So right off the bat, I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Okay, is it? Are they gonna change the cost? Doesn't seem like it. Ritual dagger cost reduced from 100 to 75. Charges reduced from 2 to 1. Like this. Yeah, this is a dispel, basically. It's a dispel that you can get at tier 2, right? It's weird because like you won't necessarily want to get destroyers. And you want to do a necro tier 2 quick push, and you need the wand to dispel water elementals. Basically, this is really like to the combat water elementals, right? Uh I mean, maybe keep it at 2 and reduce the cost a little bit. I think 4 charges is a lot. Ritual dagger cost reduced from 100 to 75. Charges reduced from 2 to 1, and the healing increased from 175 to 200. So if you're going to reduce the cost and you're going to reduce the charge, but give extra heal, I think the reason is usually what happens when I play Undead is that you get into a fight and you try to save all your units and you run back home and you want to heal immediately. So you go onto your blight and then you pop a dagger and you want to heal. But sometimes it's not enough. And then you got that extra charge and you don't know what to do with it. And oftentimes you sell it because you need the space and you go out and creep again. So I understand the 2 to 1, which I understand then you're reducing the price. So I'm fine with this and I'm fine with this. This to me is a little bit wonky, but I think this is okay. Frost Nova range reduced from 800 to 700. It's a buff. It's a buff. I mean, I think it's because undead don't have heal scrolls anymore, so they're trying to compensate for that. And because it's 1 charge and you have to buy it, so if you have to buy 2, you're spending $150, 150 gold, and you sell the second anyways, right? So I'm okay with this. We'll see how it goes. Frost Nova range reduced from 800 to 700. Frost Nova OP range is crazy. Definitely reduced the range. See, like that's not like the Demon Hunter one is big. This I look at this and I'm like, is needed. It's definitely needed. Maybe even more. Maybe 650. Who knows? But it's needed. Burrow research time reduced from 45 to 35 seconds. This is really important for Undead. I know it keeps looking like Undead's getting buffed here. Yeah, that's it. That's crazy range on the Frost Nova for the Lich. So this is a good change. It's not game breaking. You can save some fiends, and it kind of forces people to buy dust or reveal. So it's fine. It's good. And actually, those 10 seconds can really save your butt. Anti-magic shield block reduced from 420 to 300. So this is a nerf, and I think that's fine. I think anti-magic shield is really good, so that's fine. Nerubian tower cooldown reduced from 1.3 to 1 second. Is this the cooldown on attack? On their attacks? Because I don't think they need to change this. If that's the case. Yeah, it's attack speed buff. So this is not needed at all. Not needed. Web is now available on tier 1. This was definitely nobody was calling for a new Peruvian buff. This is a shot in the dark. Somebody was just like, we need something for Undead. Let's do this. This was not just. I know it looks like not a lot, but it's not needed. Web is now available in tier 1, and they spelled tier wrong. They put their one. The answer here for this is no, unless you make web more expensive, because now orcs will not be able to go wyvern, because what's going to happen, and I know because I play, and there's other people who play, and I play orc and undead. Undead's going to go with Criplord. They're going to go expand with fiends, and if they have web available, and orc knows this, orc's going to try to attack fast with a farseer or blade or whatever, and get wyvern or windriders, and go and harass. And then as the undead, you have to scout this, pay attention, and get web immediately, right? And if you don't, you're screwed. So, web on tier 1 only if web is more expensive, because that's a huge buff to undead. Huge. Right? Only if it's more expensive, have it available in tier 1. That's it. Otherwise, don't touch it. Like, you don't need to touch it. Yeah, web is really good. I know like undeads would really love I would really love to have it on tier 1, because I could just research it when I'm available and then go tier 1, push web. I don't even need statues. I'm just going to go after an orc and I don't care about wyvern, and I'll be safe, right? Carrion Swarm level 2 damage increased 125 to 135. Nobody was asking for this. Yeah, maybe reduce the research time. That's a good suggestion, right? The Criplord Carapace buff is insane. Yeah, we're going to get there. Carrion, I always call it Carrion Swarm. Carrion Swarm level 2 damage increased from 125 to 135. Nobody was asking for this, from what I understand. Level 2 is really good. Okay, level 3 is crazy. Level 1 Carrion Swarm's not fantastic. Right? It's not fantastic. If you were going to make a change, you would probably buff it from 75 to 80 damage on level 1. This is not a good change. It's not needed. Okay? That's where I stand with that. Maybe if you want to reduce the mana like a tick, maybe. But no, I wouldn't touch this at all. Gargoyle ground base damage reduced by 1. I think that's fine. I think Night Elf tend to get a little bit the mass gargs going after them. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, because you don't like, where do you see gargs against Night Elf, right? So it helps out there. I'm okay with that. I wonder what Baron thinks about that. Spike Carapace damage returned from 15, 30, 45 to 25, 50, 75. That is a huge buff to Criplord. And I'm a Criplord player when I play Undead. Norchikar is a Criplord player when you play Undead. Is that to encourage Spike Carapace as your second skill? Because a lot of times I'll go Beetles Impale, and then you'll get harassed, let's say, by a Blade Master or Farseer or whatever. So I think that's to help out in that situation. But where did all the Asians go to? Didn't they go to the KK server? We lost a lot of players, right? They got split up. I mean, there's people playing on BattleNet. We got W3C, and a lot of them went to the KK server. So Spike Carapace, in my opinion, I don't think anybody was asking for this. I mean, I would like a bit of a buff on it, but I think that's a lot. I think that's like way too much. They're gonna have to, if they want to do a change, they're gonna have to play with these numbers and make them smaller, like 20, 35, 50 or something, because this is a lot, quite a bit. Neutral. Level 1 Rain of Fire increased from 700 to 800. Rain of Fire is not Blizzard. What's the range on... Is this the... this looks like a range to me. This looks like range. I don't know if anybody can double check that, verify it. I think that's range. Yeah, that's range. I see. I mean, I see this being used against human on the gold mine peasants on the towers, and then if there's arcane and range, it's going to hit you, and then you're going to get coiled from the damage. I don't know if this is necessary, but maybe it would increase use of Rain of Fire. I'm on the fence about that. Dark Ranger drain life can now transfer life to a friendly unit. At the expense of her life, or just give life? I think that's at the expense of her life. I think it's neat. Why not? Right? Everybody has access to the Dark Ranger. Like, I don't like. Is somebody gonna abuse heal potions? You know what I mean? And coils? It's interesting. I wonder how it's going to play out. I wonder who somebody's going to come up with like a strat around this. Creeps. All right. So now a bunch of them are creeps. Poison treants no longer have entangled roots. Hitch points increase from 290 to 350. Wow. Okay. That's a lot. Spitting spider armor type change from heavy to medium, reduced from 400. Hit points reduced from 400 to 350. Honestly, don't know of people complaining about the creeps on maps. Giant spider hit point reduced from 550 to 500. Just yeah, I was just gonna say, explain to me the reasons behind a lot of these changes. Like, you can argue, we want to balance some stuff and give other races more things to do, but is this because of certain maps play? I don't think you need to do this because there's no real issues with it, right? I assume these creep changes are for the new BattleNet map pool, maybe. I haven't checked the new map pool out, but we will see. Satire Hell Collar level reduced from 9 to 8. Yeah, it's going to be weird with the Dark Ranger and Quill. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I wonder if somebody's going to definitely clip something of something weird happening. Giant Wolf stock delay increased from 240 to 440. Wow. Dark Ranger tanked a new meta. Yeah, you might see that. Satire Shadow Dancer cost decreased from 200 to 190 gold. So that's a purchase, and it's minimal. Immolation damage reduced from 10 to 5 on a creep. Fine. Entangled root duration from 10-3 to 6-3. Range reduced from 800 to 600. Fine. Frost Nova slow decreased from 4 to 2. Unholy Frenzy HP drain reduced from 4 to 2. Brilliance Aura reduced mana reduction from 1 to 0.5. Polymorph mana cost reduced from 225. These are creeps, though. So basically, they're nerfing the creeps. Heal wave amount reduced from 215 to 130. Jumps 4 to 3. Cold arrows duration increased. And damage increased. Disease cloud duration reduced from creeps. Animate dead reduced duration from spell 120 to 40 seconds. And mana cost reduced from 250 to 150. Cooldown reduced to 240 to 180. Like you said, I would really want somebody to come explain all these to me, because I don't think it makes that much of a difference. You're just making the creeps easier, generally. Dark Ranger heals DK. DK coils Dark Ranger. There you go. There you go. You have unlimited heal. And you got a statue behind there giving mana. And heal and blight. Blizzard casting reduce, Rain of Fire casting reduce, Skink movement speed reduced from 200 to 100, Apprentice Wizard hit points increased from 180 to 200, damage by 2, Fallen Priest damage increased by 2, Lightning Lizard armor change from heavy to medium, hit points increased from 280 to 300, dice damage. Like, this is the only one I can say that would make sense. The armor type on the Lizard. It's really annoying. Salamander hatchling armor type reduced from heavy to medium. And Arachnid? Is that spelled right? Or is this be Arachnid? Earth Borer, Shadow Strike, and Mana Remove hit point increase from 400 to 450. Murgle Share a Snare Caster hit point increase from 375 to 400. Damage reduced by 1. Skeletal Orc Champion Death Coil Remove now has Cripple and Vampiric Aura. Infernal Machine now has Unholy Aura. Again, all these neutral changes and the creeps, I don't think were necessary unless there's a real reason behind it, which, looking at a lot of these changes, I think it's somebody pissing in the wind. So you guys can quote me on that. Pissing in the wind. Let's see some of the comments. People saying thank you for changes. Raina Chaos. Where is the Macintosh in-game map fix? Stuttering issues. Here's some extra stuff. Siphon manage. Siphon manage. We saw this. What's been increased? The casting range or AoE? Well, this is pretty much the range, I'm sure. Frost Nova slow decreased from 4 to 2. I like the comments. Brilliance Aura reduced mana regeneration from. This is on the creeps, by the way. It's not on Archmage, right? So, Skink's movement speed reduced from 200 to 100. The sass, yeah. The Skink's reign of terror has ended. Praise be. Anyways, I want to welcome more work being done in the game and would like to again direct your attention to the broken window in the editor for data. Interesting. The menus are still pretty horrible and need work done, especially the custom game list. Yeah, the menus are crappy. You want to see 800 Rain of Fire on AoE? Imagine. Nice update. I'm not sure the small siphon mana nerf is enough to prevent the oppressive pally rifle strategy. Well, none of the stuff that I think need to be addressed have been addressed, and I've talked with some guys and they have their opinions. Like, I was asking some people to give me some of their suggestions, and I might pull them up. Payne had some for me. I think Penguin had a couple. Finally, orcs underutilized units' abilities are getting some attention. After 20 years, you might actually see Taurens and Witch Doctors played in a meta. Also, Pally Rifles being OP is getting addressed. I mean, it's not really getting addressed. It's still not getting addressed. Siphon mana cooldown is not going to be enough. It's just not going to be enough. I think one thing that you can do a couple things. You could probably reduce the life of rifles by 5 and or reduce their movement speed on top of the siphon mana cooldown. Again, little changes, but enough that they can't necessarily run away. I mean, they stand literally in front of you anyways, and they just heal, banish, heal, banish, heal, banish. So, a lot of folks complaining about FPS hitching. This is a pretty huge patch. In the future, I like to see, seeing a focus on increasing performance rather than changes on the UI. On Battle.net, there's a lot of issues with performance and stuff. I would say taking some extra time to look at how these patch notes are written would be pretty helpful. They look unprofessional. It looks like somebody who speaks English as their third language wrote them. be honest. Which does happen. Thanks for supporting Warcraft 3 and still patching. Sadly, I don't really like the patch notes. If all the changes go through, you must play 2 base to have a chance to win. I know Remo was really big about trying to encourage expansion play more. Not everybody wants to play 2 base right off the bat. Orc screwed. Orc really has a hard time getting an expansion in general. I mean, the patch notes that came out, I don't think there's a lot of changes that weren't necessarily needed. Like Remo had some interesting notes. Had some stuff like we can agree with, right? Torn resistant skin. What is this, a joke? These are grubby tips. Oh, is that real Soima? That is a grubby tip too. We definitely want to see more Tauren play. I don't know if resistant skin is that. Maybe the change would be they get some kind of like cooldown ability where they can like run or charge or something like that with their pulverize. You know what I mean? And it just generally Tauren are very expensive and they still just die. Like you need res to make them worthwhile, but then that's the whole tech you're going into, and a lot of times you don't have the time to get that kind of stuff up. Maybe not restored. One of my complaints, among several, about Tauren is they require too many upgrades, so limiting when you upgrade does help a little. So I agree. I think you got to get walkers, you got to get their depth training, you got to get their master training, and then you got to build Tauren. They're expensive, and then you got to pay for the pulverize ability. So if pulverize is really good, you still require the upgrade. Just make it cheaper. If it's not that good and it's okay, just give it to them. Right? They're going to give them resistant skin. How about we just make, what did Tauren cost now? 260 gold? Or 280? I think 260, right? I would just make them a little bit cheaper. What do knights cost? 240? Make them on par with knights for money. I think generally knights are better than Tauren, right? Because they go hand in hand with the human army anyways. They kind of they mesh with a paladin or they mesh with casters. Tauren are really good with bloodlust, but that's 2 different tech trees. That's Spirit Lodge and that's Totem, and you don't necessarily have the time or the finances to do both. And if you're facing human, they're going to get breakers, so you can't use bloodlust. Stuff to think about. I mean, overall, looking at these comments, they're not bad. And usually people like blow up comments and say stupid things. And this, again, is a PTR, so it's good that they're testing things. Why not? Why not? Yeah, I like the typo here. There, tier. Good times. It keeps amazing me how every patch there is a blatant error in spelling. Some would even be highlighted in MS Word or Outlook. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I know we make mistakes, but come on. You work for a company, you can like freaking have ChatGPT even edit all your work if you're really lazy. Let's see what this guy has to say. Knights with 3 upgrade, inner fire, level 1 devotion, sits at 17 or 18 armor. I'm sick of human having the best units at everything. Just lost to a human late game, and it felt like I had no chance to win as orc. Knights, griffins, rifles, casters. Well, I think human has the best tier 3 in the game. So you got to beat human before they get all their tier 3 stuff on board. Again, I think Tauren probably should cost what knights cost. And maybe pulverize is given to them off the bat. Because they still melt. At least they could get them out earlier. Yeah. Human regarding militia, I feel that they're not sustain. The sustain is not the issue. It's their speed and frankly quite high DPS as human. I disagree. I think human really need the human. Really need the militia for defense. And I think reducing the armor from 4 to 3 is not a good change. My issue with militia is that the fact that they're able to run like literally to the middle of the map to take fights when you're losing. To me, militia are a defense at home, right in that area of your base. The one change I would like to see is I would like you to be able to call to arms at your town hall at home in the vicinity of whoever's there. Let's say you have 8 wood peasants, you want to call to arms at at your town hall domain to defend. I'd also like to see militia being able to call to arms at their expansion separately from your town hall. So let's say you only want to call 5 from your expansion, and they click call to arms at your expansion and then defend. To me, that makes more sense. Like, why not? It's a town hall. Why not? So, instead of pressing in and calling everybody, call who's ever in the area, call who's ever in an area. It might be an interesting change. I don't know if it was like that before. And yeah, the siphon mana nerf is a bit too inefficient, too insufficient. There's other things that have to be done. So, I think it would be an excellent change. I don't think it would be game breaking, and I think it would help human defend their expansion while doing other things, right? Like, because let's say, for example, a Crypt Lord comes and he's got all kinds of summons, and you got a couple footies there. You're going to need help. You'll probably lose your militia anyways, but at least you'll be able to do damage and at least get some experience from it. So, I think that'd be a good change. Pencil this down. Write that down and send it to Neo. Tell him to get on board and send it to them. I think that's one thing for human that I would give it to. I'd give to them. They had to remove it from expos because it's OP, but I think you can play with it if you're making all these extra changes. I think you can play with it, like reduce the cooldown or reduce the duration of the timing of militia, right? Because you don't want them running across the map, which is what happens.
The Force 4 NZ just followed.
Like look at Orc. Orc has to walk. Yeah, exactly. In conjunction, look at Orc. They have to walk their peons over to tower rush you. Human calls to arms and they run across the map to either fight you in the middle or tower you. Reduce the militia timing and give them the ability to call to arms a little bit at their expansion. I think that's fine. I like it in conjunction with maybe nerfing movement speed or something. I totally agree. Totally agree. Because at least you're near your base, right? So you can't run across the map. But it needs to be done so they can still creep in expo. Find balance. Yeah. Because then you could have militia even closer to the enemy or center of the map if they come from the expansion. But that's my point. My point is militia should be only for defense and maybe creeping some small camps near you, but not running across the map. So you would reduce the militia time on them, maybe reduce their speed a little bit, but give them the ability to call to arms at home, at their expansion and at home to defend. I think that would be an interesting change. I mean, at least they could try it on PTR, right? That's the whole point of having a PTR, right? At least, and I think humans would be happy for that, and I don't think they would lose as many peasants because they're able to defend. It still would, right? Do I have? Yeah, let me check Remo's suggestions that I have from. Who is Cone? Let me check. These are Remos from yesterday that we went over. So Remos again was all about protect our peasants and more expansion play and stuff like that, and buffing weaker strategies. So Hitman was about the tech and the duration, all the stuff, and to me, leave it alone, right? So this I said no to. Increase the lumber cost of blacksmith to 40 to 60. I'm okay with this. We said, yeah, reduce this is good. I don't think this is necessary, but possibly okay. Reduce the water elemental level 2 damage. He recommended. Like, I'd say okay at this point now, thinking about it. Decrease the. I don't think decreasing the dispel. The heal range was put into the PTR. Nobody touched this. I think Sundering Blades probably should go to Knights immediately, innately. Yeah, when you're playing for fun. I'm okay with the Orb of Fire, but I don't think it should be a damage buff. I think it should be, like we said yesterday, like a AoE or some kind of different perk, right? I think this was silly, but now they're magic immune, so level 3 aim push do be a tad too powerful, Robs. This is so punishing. Yeah, water torrents are really really strong, right? So there's a lot of stuff here that he listed that were ridiculous, except the burning oil. I think there's some thought to be given to burning oil. I think they need to buff it. And definitely the lightning orb stuff shouldn't be done. Shadow Hunter agility gain for 1.5 to 2. I was thinking about this today, and I think with the keeper stuff being buffed, I think that's not a bad idea. This should, and they added it in the PTR. It shouldn't happen. They shouldn't do it. So I was talking with Payne earlier today, and I think Keeper of the Grove, like you don't see too much Keeper play, so I'm okay with some kind of buff to Keeper just to give them a little bit of playability, because like once they get like a level 4, level 5, even, they're so squishy to Nova, Coil Nova, you just die. So you want something, right? It'll be more keeper play with the DH nerf. Well, they're not going to keep the DH nerf. They're going to change that, I think. If not, make it less. Hey, buddy, how are you? Mr. G'd. So this was implemented in the PTR, which is crazy. I think it should be, like we said, 280 or 290. None of this made it because it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. An orc-centric package, yeah. But, I mean, the PTR, it borrowed from people. Like, there's a couple of people whispering into one person's ear, like, do this, do this, do this. And it's like, it's kind of random, right? It's a bit random. Remove. I think this is actually pretty interesting. Remove the invulnerability from Spirits of Vengeance. Undead. Forget about this. I mean, maybe a little bit, because of tanks, right? If you're going to reduce the cost of orbs, we said, then you would do it, all of them. Yeah, it's a bit insane. And so no, they actually did it. They took his advice and they did it, which is crazy. It's a lot. This was also not necessary. Like, you would buff level 1 to 80 damage, maybe. One of negation got completely overhauled, and then the neutral stuff and all this stuff. But so they're gonna tweak it. I don't know about all the creeps and the neutral creeps. I don't know why this is an issue, but apparently they gave a lot of thought to this. um, I think this might be a little weird. And there's a lot of stuff in here that, like, Wand of Negation is going to be really good. I think the Ritual Dagger change is a good change. The Frost Nova range change is good. Burrow Research Time is good. Anti-Magic Shield Block Reduction is a nerf. It's good. This is not good. The Nerubian Tower. Web on Tier 1 is not good unless the cost is more expensive. Carry On Swarm Level 2 damage increased. Nobody asked for it. No. Gargoyle ground-based damage reduced by 1. We said sure. Spike Erebus damage returned. This is too much. It's not. I mean, maybe they want to test it. I understand, but it's not a good idea unless it's expensive. For Night Elf, like, again, you know, some of the Night Elves probably are not seeing what they want. Like Ultra Vision time reduced, no. Moonstone duration increased, sure. Hunter's Hall lumber cost reduced, sure. Nature's Blessing lumber cost reduced from 200 175, sure. Yeah, we make 200. Orb of Venom change. I think it's the stacking that's the big issue. Mana burn range reduced from 300 to 250. Again, probably 290, 280 maybe. Mountain Giant food cost reduced from 7 to 6. I don't think anybody was asking for that. The resistance skin doesn't currently work on the PTR. Cooldown of mirror image increased. Fine. Yeah, they keep reverting it. They can't make up their mind. You know, stasis traps and heal wards and all that stuff got boosted. Even the duration got nerfed. Great Hall build time got reduced 148 to 120, so that's a boost. I think that's fine, honestly. And I really there's a couple of changes I would have made. I think in Venom Spears should benefit Berserkers. I think Militia, Call to Arms, duration decrease. Militia, Call to Arms at any town hall in area. So like expansion. What was the other thing we said? Yeah, I know it used to be like that, but you can't make that change unless you also reduce speed of militia too. Right? What else did we say before, guys? Yeah, buff Orb of Fire with some kind of splash damage. Reduce rifle life by 5 hit points. And reduce movement speed a little bit. Yeah, make it like incinerate. I think so. I don't know about the banish. I wouldn't touch the banish right now. I would leave it. Because the banish can actually benefit you too. Because if they banish their own unit and you stormbolt it, like, you increase your damage, right? Like, there was a couple of things we said. I think Tauren costs reduce. Reduce too. Same cost of knights. Small things will love that fix Pit Lord attacks point and priest heal point. Like you're talking about How close? Like the distance? They increased the range for priest heal. Yeah. I don't know if those are the right words, but Pit Lord attack only hits seemingly after the animation. The cancel attack before damage is dealt all the time, and the priest heal overrides the spell command really. Interesting. We have to take a look at that. What else did we say, Doom? We said some other things yesterday, and I probably wouldn't go into the breaker stuff that I mentioned. I think humans would go crazy if I mentioned that stuff. I do think Night Elf needs some kind of lumber upgrade or change at some points. I do think that. I don't know what that would be. Honestly, I don't think that would be. I think I always thought orc salves should cost less, like 75 gold. Um, these are just ideas that I had in my mind. Yeah. So instead of 100, you do 75 because you're constantly, it costs so much. Grubby will tell you the same thing. Like it costs so much to heal. Well, they in the PTR they reduced the cost of Nature's Blessing. Like would an undead need a clarity after all this? I mean, every other race has a clarity, right? It would make Coil Nova just crazy having a clarity, boom, 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 boom. So I won't touch that. I won't touch that. The one thing I thought about is towers. Like maybe towers should only be available on tier 2. Right? Like but keep Arcane and Nerubian the way it is. Rifle attack animation length is what's problematic if you ask me. Picture an archer firing a shot and then a rifle. It's like 3x faster. And hunters with berserker can sort of compete, but they're just not rifles. Yeah, they're not rifles. So I think like as much as because you don't see Orc Tower play really, you see it at tier 2. And humans, even if they build the lumber mill, I don't think they should have access to regular towers until tier 2. So maybe keep the Arcane and the Nerubian keep it tier 1 and only get Spirit Towers at tier 2. So Spirit Towers, Orc Towers, and Guard Towers at tier 2. It would prevent like turtling. Yeah, I figured as much, but it would prevent the turtling because a lot of people right off the bat build towers. So just like tier 2 is the prerequisite. Boom. Tell me that's not a good change. Like I think this. No, but human can still build arcanes. Most rushes happen at tier 2. This would stop like turtling. Basically turtling. Like BM, Blade Master, tech into towers. Right? Like I think a lot of this is good. You guys can call me crazy. Mr. Mike doesn't know what he's talking about, but I'm making educated guesses based on I don't think this is crazy. I think this is really needed. Like orcs are always starving for heal. then they're not. Then it shouldn't be 100 gold. It should be like something like that, right? They're always start for gold. I do like a tower rush here and there though, and awful in its meta. Yeah. Oh, let me buy one charge of healing word from Voodoo Lounge. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I'll write it down. You know what though? You know what though? That makes a lot of sense because you can use the salves at tier 1, and then when you get tier 2, you can have the option of buying whatever you want. Right? That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, but the backpack, they want to encourage backpack. So backpack without a shop or without a prerequisite, I'm fine with that. So that's fine. Doom, I feel like I said some other suggestions. I don't remember what I said. Right? I think this is it's a good change. That would be an interesting change. And Undead already got a bunch of buffs, right? There's one thing about grunts. Yeah, no, we're not changing. We're not improving siege tanks. Grunts are really, yeah, mana is an issue for orc, but if you just solve all their problems, then they wouldn't have any strengths or weaknesses. I mean, they got some clarities. The casters run out of mana fast, but I think they're about damage mostly, you know. But grunts, you can get the brute strength upgrade. Should the brute strength upgrade come with a little bit more life or a little bit an extra armor to make them a little bit more durable if we get torn? I was thinking about that. Let me pull up brute strength. Weapons. Brute strength. So here's brute strength. Yeah, imagine. Here's brute strength. So the cost is 50 gold and 150 lumber. Improves the fighting capability of grunts with 125 hit points increase and 3 bonus attack damage. I would say increase the cost to 75 gold. Leave it at and maybe or 80 gold. Let's say 80 gold and like 135 wood or something like that. Yeah, it's too wood heavy. So make it like make it like 80 or something like that, or 7,500 wood. Yeah, something. But also on top of the hit points, on top of the bonus damage, give them 1 armor. Something like that. I'm not saying do it. I'm saying something like that. So let's look at this. This is Envenom Spears for Berserkers. Militia. Orb of Fire buff. Rifle change. Tauren change. Night Elf needs some kind of lumber change or upgrade. Orc salves change or give the ward. Towers should only be available in tier 2 in terms of orc towers and guard towers and spirit towers. Grunt brute strength upgrade change cost of maybe 75 to 125. Additional 1 armor with upgrade. I think that's okay. And I'm saying with some of the changes, like increase hunt play, like you wouldn't have APs at tier 1, right? So APs at tier 2. Just make all the towers light armor, upgrading to heavy instead of fortified. I wonder how that would play out. So, Payne, I put this here for lumber with Night Elf. And I'm making these references based on the patch notes we saw and other things. I feel like Night Elf needs something. I don't know what that is. Oh, this would be a, if I made this change or this suggestion before. So if you staff a hero who has a staff back home, so I'm taking staff preservation, their staff also triggers a cooldown. There's been talks of 6 to 7 per cycle instead of 5, reducing cost. Cost is hard because it changes the timings. I think it should be an upgrade, to be honest, to like tier 2. So I think this maybe affects Night Elf, but I also think it's generally probably a good thing. Like, you should not be able to staff your hero home, instant heal, or instant buy items, or do whatever, or staff your hero home so your other hero gets XP and then staff back. If you have no staff, no problem. I always thought this was an issue. I don't think anybody's ever brought it up. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm saying maybe. I'll put it in italics as a thought. Yeah, but I'll put it in the italics because I don't know. Right? Maybe that's a questionable thing, but I always thought that, like, why, you know? Maybe the cooldown wouldn't be a big thing. Maybe it would be 10 seconds or whatever the case may be. You pick up a hero with a Zeppelin and staff the Zeppelin. I didn't. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh wow, nice. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, sorry, I'm reading messages, guys. At the same time here. I staff you back to the brothel. That's crazy. Imagine if they did that. So yeah, I mean, in terms of, I've had other ideas. I won't mention them. I think humans and other people would have heart attacks, but I think generally those are good changes. On top of, I think, sondering blades and all that stuff should be part of knights and a lot of, the other things that they mentioned. Some of the stuff's good. Like I think you should see more keeper play. I think knight should have sundering blades. So yeah, exactly. It's a countering to MGs, but I think they should just have it. They should just have it. But definitely towers should be changed. Enough of the tower nonsense. Get away from that reign of chaos idea of towers, towers, towers. Like, get away from the tier 1 towers. Enough of that stuff. Definitely Night Elf needs a lumber change. Tauren, you want to see more play? Make them same cost of knights. On top of Siphon Mana, reduce rifle by some hit points and reduce their movement speed. Buff Orb of Fire, reduce militia time speed, reduce speed of the militia, but give them the ability to call to arms at their expansion, and reduce the duration of call to arms so they can't run across the map. And Venom Spears should benefit Berserkers. Always thought that. That would be good against like destroyers and stuff and breakers. And I always thought defend should benefit breakers in some capacity, but they would need not to be magic resistant. They would need to be magic immune. They would need to be magic resistant because they got to take the extra damage from somewhere else. But we won't go there. Thoughts? It's pretty level headed. No. What do you guys think? It's strange that they went on buff blades and MGs at the same time. Yeah, well, they didn't really buff MGs. They just reduced the supply, which I still think is whatever. If you tell the Zep to pick the hero up from further away, you have a lot of time to click the staff before it picks the hero up. Fascinating. Fascinating, gentlemen. Well, I think the Great Hall suggestion they made is good. You know, I don't think we do too many changes before things. Yeah. I think they should fire the janitor. I'm excited to see Tauren and resist skin versus human snowbreakers and see if it helps. You know, the other thing that can help is that they didn't address. They've kind of like I know Remo tried the Farsight ability should be changed. Right? What? It's either it should be some kind of cooldown speed upgrade, like a mini speed bloodlust or something, with a certain time, like a charge, like 3 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever, and with a long cooldown, and gets better every level. Or it should be some kind of GPS like stick, like you could throw it on reveal on units and it sticks with them for X amount of duration. One unit they're level 1, and then level 2 you could spread on a couple. Then level 3 can spread even more, and maybe it reduces their armor at the same time. Something like that, right? Like it just needs to be changed. It's never used. And that's how we go. Fair, exactly. I think so. I think it's fair.
to the culture wars tonight. In the chaos we find our light. Side by side we'll forge our path.